My name is Lynn Miller, originally from Carrollton, Georgia. I was born and raised there. Then when I was a teenager, I moved around with my dad. He went to work with Citizens Federal Savings and Loan, and that's how I got to work. And the years passed. Okay, I was in banking. I worked at Georgia State Bank when it was Georgia State Bank. Now it's Regions for 9 years. And then after that, I married Rick Miller, which is my husband now. And I became a mom about a year later or so. And I no longer worked at the bank then. And then about 4 or 5 years later, I started helping his mom, Rick's mom. She was getting older. So I was a bookkeeper. I started being a bookkeeper, and that's here at Collier Springs.
Okay.
And I did that for years and years.
And I understand that Collier Springs is kind of a family business.
It is a family business. Rick's dad started it in 1935. So it's been in the family a long time.
How has the economy affected the golf course?
Oh, it has a lot, because one thing about it, a membership you don't have to have. Food you have to have, but golf membership or club membership, that's a privilege. And so in the past years, it used to be really booming, but it kind of slacked off a little bit. And now it's coming back, the membership's coming more alive. I can see more, the economy may be getting a little better.
And that brings me to your health situation. I understand you've been through quite a doozy for the past year or so.
I've been through a doozy since 2002.
Tell me about that.
Okay, in August of 2002, I was in a head-on automobile crash which impaired my left eye. And that was very hard. It was very hard on me, because when you're a bookkeeper, you need your eyes. So that started making things really hard for me. Then things got better after that. Emotionally, I hadn't driven since the wreck. I don't drive because emotionally, I really never got over that.
And you still can't see.
And I really can't see. I still can't see out of my left eye. I have no peripheral vision, so you really wouldn't see me on the highway. 2002 that happened. Then I sort of get back in the swing of things a little bit. And then I find out in 2005 I have cancer. And that was a big blow. But you do pick yourself up and you move on. So since 2005, I've just been kind of trucking and, hanging in there and whatever. And I hadn't always felt well. But okay, so I was dealing with that, and I had good days and bad days and whatever. And so it wasn't anything for me to be tired or anything like that, because about every day at 2 o'clock, I would just kind of go downhill. So last year, I wasn't feeling well at all. And so I didn't know what was going on. But one day I was here. I was visiting some of my friends here. And all I did was sneeze. I went, just a big sneeze. And oh, heavens to Betsy. My nose started bleeding. And it bled, and it bled, and it bled, and it bled, and it bled. And I had to get a trash can. And it's not a very pleasant thing. Well, needless to say, they called the ambulance, and I went to the hospital. And when I got there, they found out that my liver was failing. So that was not good. So I really had to take it easy and whatever. And I started going to Dr. Golden, Emory, and that was in July. They put me through Grant was with me 3.5 months. I was there 3.5 months at Emory. And a lot of the time I was there, but I wasn't there because I was so sick. Like I said, basically I was dying. I had to jump through all these hoops because you have to earn an organ. They don't just say, okay, here's your organ. But you have to go through just all kinds of tests.
So you got an organ transplant finally after numerous trials and tribulations and going through.
Boy,
how long did that take?
Well, about, what was it, 3?
Yeah.
Well, 2.5 months, or I was knocking at death's door. I really was, and I knew it. And that's that's a feeling I wouldn't want anybody.
Kind of coming toward the end of your life,
yes.
All of a sudden, an accident occurred with someone that was a complete match for you,
yes.
and then you actually got a liver transplant.
Yes.
at kind of a last minute.
Yes, it was a miracle. And it was so hard when you receive a transplant, unless you walk in someone's shoes that has, receives one, you really don't know the feelings, because someone had to lose a family, a loved one. And you have to deal with that too. I mean, you're grateful for the organ, but then you also know someone is grieving.
And then it took, and then
It did.
how did your health improve?
Oh, within 4 days, I went from a big, it's really hard to describe. I was like this big
But she was still not all there.
blob
Right.
of a person that really couldn't walk. I mean, my legs were so swollen, they were stiff. You couldn't move them and that kind of thing. I went from that, and I went from a single-size wheelchair
The double
to a
wide.
double wide.
Yeah.
And then after that, within 4 days, it was like 70 pounds.
How have you felt since then?
A lot better. I mean, it's like I'm a new person. I've been given a new lease on life. Every day I get up, I'm thankful. I thank the Lord every day. I think of the person. I don't know the person. I will never know the person that, or the family that donated their organ. But I think of them too. I really do. You can't help but think of them.
A lot of people say, you get an organ, you might feel something that you've never felt before, maybe the other person kind of inside. Has that ever been the case with you? Maybe ever crossed your mind?
Yeah. For some reason, I feel like this person was a lot younger than I am. And deep inside, I feel a lot younger. Of course, yes, I have. I'm not young. I'm not, but inside I really do. And I think the youth from that, and just the determination, youth, and whatnot comes out in that. I just feel it. I just feel better.
I'm assuming you're a huge proponent of organ transplants
Yes.
now. Tell me about that.
Well, I feel like everyone, and I'm an example. If it wasn't for someone, even that, whomever that person was, I know they had to lose their life or whatever, but evidently before then, they had made the decision to donate organs in case, something happened to them. And I recommend it for people, because if it wasn't for that person, I wouldn't be here.